and pray to God and put him first. Girl,
Living
hey.
dangerously.
Well, girl, you're living too dangerous for me.
Living dangerously.
Well, if it is me, Aberrant and Levy, talk.
Living dangerously.
Girl, you're living too dangerous for we.
Yo, the Raptors come back from 23 at home against the Wizards for the fourth largest comeback in franchise history. What a wrath, man. Yo, man, this is getting out of control, man. The Raptors are just living way too dangerously. Living on the edge, man. Like, we're getting down by like 20 in like multiple games already this season, and we're only 10 games in, guys. Like, yo, my heart is just not good enough for like these types of wins. I mean, it is, thank God it is. But I mean, like, you know, figuratively, like for real, dog. How many times are we gonna get down 23, 22, 21? Like, yo, like, we gotta do something different. We gotta do something different. You cannot be digging yourself such a hole in like a lot of these games, man. You just cannot. But yo, we came out on the winning side again. This time, 111-107 against the Washington Wizards. And my man Pascal was eating again in the paint. Nyamming food down there. Nyamming food down there. Once the man decided, like, yo, I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this foolery. It's time. And the man just, yo, no knife and fork, eh? Hands. Straight. Feet work down there in the post. Feet work. You can bring Kuzma. That no work. Who else they had? Kispert. Not working. Who else they had down there? Jordan Poole. Not working. Whoever you wanted to put on Pascal last night, down low, in the paint, it's not working for y'all, fam. It's not working for y'all. But, you know, I don't want to be complaining because the Raptors are 5-5. We're 5-5. That means we're 500, 10% through the season. Lots of season left to go. You know what I mean? I guess we're a little bit more than 10%, 15% through the season. But we're 5-5. We're 5-5, and we've had some terrible quarters of basketball, some terrible halves of basketball, some terrible games of basketball, i.e. last Saturday night against the Boston Celtics. You know, it's not that I didn't want to show up and do a podcast for that episode or do a show for that episode. It was my sister's birthday, so I touched the road. And, you know, I was trying to like pay attention on my phone to see what the score was. When I was in the Uber going to the spot, I'm like, okay, it's a pretty close game in the first quarter. I'm going to check back in. But by the time I, you know, got myself a little rum, little drink, ordered my food, chopped it up with my family and friends and them, I looked at my phone. And in the third quarter, we were down by like 21. It was like 80-59, something of that sort. So I ended up going back and watching that game just to see what that was really about. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad when you actually like watch it. But it goes back to what I was saying a few days ago or maybe last week. When you lose every single quarter in a basketball game, all of a sudden you find yourself down 18, 19, 20 going into the fourth quarter. Like you cannot live that way. It's too dangerous because you're not going to have these types of comebacks every single night like we had against the Spurs, like we had last night against the Wizards. The Celtics are a much better team than both of those teams. Much better team. You cannot live that way. It's too dangerous, fam. It's too dangerous. Can't have them. We need some better quarters, like win some quarters against the better teams. But then I can't even really say that because we went and beat the Bucks. We beat Dallas. We have some good wins on the season. We beat Minnesota. The Spurs were over 500 at the time when we beat them. Now they're going in on a little slide now. We kind of like, led them into their little slide that they're doing right now. But against the Wizards, this team was 2-7 coming into the game. 2-7. Now they kept saying on the broadcast that these types of games are like trap games in a sense, because you've been out on the road, you played 4 games in 10 nights. So it wasn't like a 4 games in 7 nights, 8 nights. Basically, Alvin Williams and these guys are saying that you have a lot of time to just kind of chill around. You're living in a hotel room, you're practicing, you're in and out of cities. And then when you come home now, for whatever reason, to start the game based on his experience, there's a little bit of a letdown in the first half, first quarter, second quarter. And that held true last night against the Wizards. It held true because, man, them were not like coming out playing their best basketball by any stretch. Now, Raptors fans that were at the game, why was it so quiet though? I know the team's not giving you much to like cheer for in that first half, but it was like Ghost Town, Ontario yesterday in that first half. I'm like, did anybody come to this game? Was it just like corporate night where like, you're giving out tickets to your partnerships where nobody get a damn about the game? Like, what happened? It was dead. And the man them could have used a little bit of energy yesterday, just a little pick me up, man. Just a little pick me up, because in that first half, we were just like lifeless in that first half. And here I was thinking, I'm like, okay, you're on a road trip. You come back from a weird road trip where like you started off on the East Coast, touched Texas, and then came back to the East Coast again. It was a weird road trip, right? But at the same time, though, you're coming back to your bed now. You get a nice rest. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your favorite restaurant is, or, if you have a shorty cooking you a meal. Like, everything is just blessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my mentality. I'm like, I'd come out here refreshed, ready to go. Or maybe whatever these guys are doing in Texas when we beat the Spurs and the Mavs, maybe we should have been doing more of that. Because in those games, well, mind you, we didn't come out well against the Spurs. Not at all. In the Dallas game, I thought we were solid all the way through. We had a run in the third quarter and that done off the game. But I expected a little bit better playing against a 2-7 team. You're coming home from a road trip. But damn, did they pick it up in like late in the third quarter, actually. Right? Late in the third quarter. Because with like a couple minutes left in that third quarter, we were down 16. Down 16, I believe. Right? So this would look like another game now where the Raptors just look like maybe they don't got it again. Maybe they don't got it. Maybe there's some carryover from the Boston game into the Wizards game, and mans haven't like really woken up like that. But then Pascal Siakam decided to start getting down low into the paint, nyamming food, like I said, dog. Nyamming food. And the weird part about what Pascal's been doing the last few games, when he had that 30-piece the other night, and now he had damn near 40 yesterday. If you would have hit a couple more free throws, my guy, you would have had your 40-piece. And everybody knows I be talking about how bad the Raptors' free throw shooting is. We need to get better with that. We can't be the worst free throw shooting team in the league. We can't. We don't have a Shaquille O'Neal on our team. I mind you, Pirtle's not a great free throw shooter, but how many free throws is Pirtle taking a game? Like, Pascal's got to be better at the line. Scotty's got to be better at the line. Like, let's call out those two guys. Those are our two best players. Y'all got to be better at the line, free throw line. Right? Pascal, you would have had your 40-piece if you'd have hit some free throws. But nevertheless, though, when Pascal, those last couple of games where he's turning up, everything is in the paint. Literally everything. I think he's 1 for 20 on his last 20 3-point attempts. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. That's like 5%, fam. You're shooting 5% from three the last few games. That can't go on, baby. That can't go on. Like, he's gonna break out of this slump at some point from outside and mid-range. But everything recently has just been in the post. In the post. Back to the bucket type of work. You know what I'm saying? Face up game work. Boom, 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 boom. Either that way, spin in, go into the lane, whichever way. But yo, he has a plethora of moves with back to the bucket or his face up game against inferior defenders. And like literally, that's what you got to do when you have inferior defenders that can't guard you. Take them down low and go eat. Clearly, he knows that because, you know, he's making a concerted effort to do these things when he's ready to turn up. A few threes here and there, but he's missing them. Even the mid-range jumpers right now, he's missing. But anyways, Pascal Siakam, 39 points, 11 rebounds last night, another double-double, had 7 assists, so damn near a triple-double. Like, that's what we need from you, fam. That is what we need from you. Whatever Darko told you after, you know, we had those first few days off against Philly, or after we lost to Philly, I believe, after you had the second ghost game, like, you've just been showing that, you know, you're not going to let whatever outside noise that could possibly affect you, you're not letting that be a situation for you where you're letting that stop your game. You've made some adjustments now and you're going inside and you're scoring the basketball. But you also got to give Darko Rajakovic credit. You have to. Because all the little 0.5 stuff that we were seeing early in the season, where everything was literally off-ball movement and the ball just kept moving. Now, mind you, that's nice offense. It's nice offense. But now that we're starting to hear a little bit more about it, that is not the offense. It is just a concept of the offense where you get things based on the movement, where you create matchups for yourself. And this is where Pascal thrives, okay? Because generally, he's not the type of guy that's going to come off the screen, get a ball, and take one dribble and lay it in. What you want out of Pascal is that, yeah, he's going to have the off-ball movement, go around screens and things of these sorts, but he's going to find a matchup that works for him based off of that movement. And right now, all of those matchups look to be paint touches, back to the basket touches, face-up touches, where it's sort of like an ISO, but it's not really an ISO where, like, you get the ball with, like, 20 seconds left on the shot clock and then you're trying to do some stuff. Like, he might get that ball with 14 seconds, 10 seconds, and create something for himself based off of the mismatch from the 0.5. All right? So give Darko credit for allowing Pascal to understand that little wrinkle in the concept that's going to work for him based on the strengths in his game. So I appreciate that, because you're seeing the evolution now of Darko understanding his players, putting his players in the best possible situation to be successful in the half court. Because we all know, like, the half court has just been our Achilles heel so far to start the year on offense. Been terrible for the most part. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit too harsh. Not great. I'll say that. Not great. I don't want to say terrible. Not great. But these little things now that we're seeing that's highlighting a little bit more of certain players getting the ball with their strengths, I think that is a result of Darko Rajakovic understanding his personnel just a little bit better. So it's very important now that we start to see that come out with other players who have been a little bit struggling, Gary Trent Jr. is now injured. Is he injured? He's missed the last 2 games. I didn't really hear what happened with Gary Trent Jr. All of a sudden, I turned on the TV to watch the replay, Toronto and Boston, and it said Gary's not playing. And then he didn't play last night against Washington. So I'll have to look that up and see exactly what that injury is. But the point I'm trying to make is that players like Gary Trent Jr., he's another guy that needs to get off now in this offense because he's been really up and down, and for the most part, it's been down. Like, it hasn't been fantastic for him. All right. So let me see here what it says about Gary Trent Jr. injury, because I want to know. A foot injury? Okay, I'll have to look a little bit more into that one. Have to take a little bit more into that one and see what that's about. But yeah, we need to start getting Gary Trent going as well. OG Anunoby didn't play last night. Apparently, he was doing something around the crib, and he mashed up his finger. Can't have those. Can't have those. You are way too important to this team to be missing games because of something that happened around the crib. You cut yourself, dog. Trying to cook some food or whatever it was you were trying to do. I don't know. I don't know. But the defense in that first half against the Wizards, we could have used some OG Anunoby. Big time, fam. Big time. Because, the Wizards, Kyle Kuzma was getting everything he wanted. Kyle Kuzma. Now, listen. Kyle Kuzma is a strong offensive player. There's a reason why LeBron wanted him at the Lakers when they made like that big trade, got rid of Brandon Ingram and, Lonzo Ball and those guys. Kuzma stayed. And since he's been in Washington, he's been a big-time scorer for Washington. That team is missing some veteran presence, man. They're missing some veteran presence because what you saw in the last 7 minutes and 25 seconds of that game where they literally did not score at all. Like, they were stuck on 107 for a hot minute in that game. A hot minute in that game. Stuck. Now, that's when you would generally want to have a veteran presence to come in, settle down the man them, talk to them, maybe score a bucket, get to the line, like things of that nature. They look like a really young, inexperienced team yesterday from about 2 minutes left in the third quarter to the rest of the game. Now, I'm very thankful for that because that allowed us to get back into the game and steal a W. That's basically what happened yesterday. We stole a W. Our defense was not working in the first half. Kyle Kuzma was going off from 3, inside, mid-range, fast break, all of the above. All of the above. And Daniel Gafford just eating down low. I thought I thought Jakob Poeltl had some defensive lapses, especially in the first half yesterday. Defensive lapses. And taking it back to the Boston game, what I saw was that they were using Porzingis a lot in the high pick and roll, where they're pulling Poeltl out now from the paint. And now their wing scorers, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, these guys are able to get whatever in and out because you don't have that big man down low to kind of protect the rim of some sorts. Now, I know the Raptors have a lot of length and whatnot on this team, but when Poeltl is down there, his body's just bigger. His body is bigger. He's stronger. So it's important to have him, I don't want to say like floating around the rim, but it would serve us well to not have Poeltl guarding out on the perimeter. Put it that way. But last night, he was getting lost. He was getting lost early on the pick and roll. They were drawing him out, doing a lot of the same things that Boston did against him. Offensively, he played all right. When he's diving to the bucket or when he gets his hands on a ball around the bucket where the Raptors might create a 1-on-2 somehow, just based on screens and off-ball movement, he's money down there. He's money down there. As long as Pirtle doesn't have to put the ball on the floor, I am 2 thumbs up with Pirtle. You should never need to put the ball on the floor unless it's, actually, I was going to say unless it's one dribble, but I really don't even want you doing that, yo. No dribbles. No dribbles. Just up for Pirtle. And what you saw last night was Chris Boucher closing in the fourth quarter. Big it up. Boucher was putting in work yesterday in that fourth quarter. Work. He was changing shots. Now, that's a guy that you trust a little bit more guarding on the perimeter than a Jakob Poeltl. It just made sense because the Wizards kind of went small. They kind of went small. But with them going small, that now allows Pascal to go eat in the paint. That allowed Scotty Barnes to get in there a few times in the fourth quarter. Chris Boucher had like the tying basket and like the bucket before the tying basket. Because there's no presence down low to kind of, disrupt things for him. This guy was changing shots, getting blocks at the rim. There was one play where he was guarding his man and the ball got passed and he kind of came off of his man and like weak side made a block at the rim. That's high IQ alert defense. High IQ alert defense. Boucher had himself a game yesterday. And I really like that Darko decided to go with what was working down the stretch. We've never really seen this 2-guard lineup before with Schroeder and Flynn. Because it's risky having these 2 guys on the floor at the same time historically, based on what we see from Malachi Flynn. And then you don't really have any other guard depth on the bench after those 2 guys, especially when Gary Trent Jr. is he's not playing, he's in street clothes. But I thought that was a brilliant move by Darko. A brilliant move. Because that allowed you to now put more pressure on the ball handlers for the Wizards. And now you have more ball handlers when you get that defensive stop and get out into the fast break. And Malachi hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter in this game, y'all. A big 3. I've been saying this the last I don't want to say a few weeks, maybe the last week and a half. This has to work with Malachi Flynn. It has to work, y'all. It has to. And what I'm seeing is a player that now has the confidence from his coach. And he knows that he has the confidence from his coach because it's not like Malachi is doing everything right out on the floor. He got stripped yesterday in the fourth quarter. The Wizards went back and got an easy lane. I think that might have put them up 14 or 16 while Pascal was sitting to start the fourth quarter. Not that I want to call out that play specifically. I just remember it just based on, some of the things I didn't like from Malachi in that game. But all the other things that this guy did, like I said, hitting the big 3. He was even playing defense, got a steal, making assists. When that ball goes up from Malachi Flynn, it looks like it's a bucket when he wants to take a 3. He has good form and good mechanics. Maybe it really is just confidence with him. So if Darko just wants to keep playing him, I'm okay with this right now. We are 5-5. That means that we are, winning somewhat while we're learning, while Darko's learning his personnel, his players, and how to put them in the best position to be successful in basketball games. So Malachi Flynn, man, he's playing much better than at any point last year that I can remember. If I'm wrong, put it down in the comments. But I don't remember Malachi even being halfway anything competent to what I'm seeing the last week or so from Malachi. So I'm actually happy for him. I'm actually happy for him that he has a coach that's putting that trust in him. Because clearly that's what he needs. Clearly. And Precious Achua also playing some big minutes down there in the fourth quarter or the third quarter, somewhere around there. He played before Pirtle, doing some good stuff. He had a good game last night. Matter of fact, the bench had 31 points last night. 31 points, and Gary Trent Jr. didn't even play. Otto Porter Jr. was in the starting lineup. So you're getting 31 out of your bench. Now, it's not great, but for us, that's way better than anything that we've seen at the beginning of the season, where man just scoring 10 points, 17 points collectively off the bench. Like, that's not good. 31 is like halfway decent. We can do better. We can do better. But without your sixth man last night, that's a good effort from the bench, guys. Like, yo. And when you look at the plus minuses, I know a lot of people don't like this stat, but in certain games, I feel like it makes sense. Because when these players were on the floor, you can just see it, that they're working together defensively. They're getting out into the fast break. They're getting the ball to the hot player. Pascal Siakam, plus 18. Chris Boucher, plus 14, B. Malachi Flynn, plus 12. Precious Achua, plus 8. So, the four players with the top plus minus on the team yesterday, 3 of them were from the bench. Three of them were from the bench, fam. And it was important because the Wizards were just on fire in the first half. But once you got down to like that 2-minute mark in the fourth quarter, turn up defense. Turn up. Now, we gave up some few points to start the fourth quarter, but once Pascal came back in with that 7:25 when we were down 16, Wizards didn't score again. That was it. We ended the game on a 22-1 run, bro. That cannot feel good if you are a Washington Wizards fan this morning or last night. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. As Raptors fans, we've been on the other end of that, even this season, where we've given up leads in the fourth quarter, couldn't score, couldn't put the ball in the basket. And it felt like the other team was just giving us opportunities. Because again, the Raptors did not play perfectly offensively in that fourth quarter. We had turnovers. Pascal had a double dribble. Like, what is that? You can't have that in the fourth quarter of a basketball game. You know? Scotty Barnes had some turnovers. Dennis Schroeder had some turnovers. It wasn't picture perfect by any stretch. But give credit because the man them kept playing. Their energy at the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, that got the arena bumping. Bumping. Because again, to begin that game, it sounded like nobody was there. It was Ghost Town, Ontario, fam. Ghost Town, Ontario. But when the man then picked up the energy in the arena picked up. And that was necessary too, just to give the little extra bump to the players that were on the court and make it just a little bit more different or difficult for the Wizards. All right. So with this recap, I didn't really go into all of like the first quarter, this happened, second quarter, that happened. Like, yo, Raptors got the dub, B. Raptors got the dub. Fourth largest in Raptors history, whether road or home. The largest comeback was December 22nd, 2019, at home against Dallas, and I was at that game. It was my daughter's birthday. I took her and her friend to the game, and like we were getting smashed. And there was a Dallas fan sitting in front of me telling me how sorry he was because it's my daughter's birthday. And I'm like, bro, just wait. Don't worry. This game not over. I was not confident, though. I was not confident, but I remember that comeback. I remember that comeback. I was in the building. So I can only imagine, not imagine, I know how everybody felt last night because it didn't feel like we were doing anything. It didn't feel like we were going to come back and get that dub. It's like sometimes you feel like the universe already gave us our dub when we came back from San Antonio. The universe balanced already. Just don't balance again. Like, Raptors need to stop getting down by these big 20, 30-point deficits. It's too dangerous. We're living way too dangerous. You can't live like that, fam. You can't live like that. But again, at the end of the day, we are 5-5, and I believe we are tied for 6th in the East, something of that nature. But that's all I want. That's all I want. Just hang around until you figure things out. Maximize the win streaks and minimize the losing streaks. We just got our butt handed to us in Boston last Saturday. And the way things were looking is like, okay, we might have a little small losing streak here. 2 games. But the Raptors turned it around and got the dub at home like we should against a team that we are better than. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. OG Anunoby, get right, fam. Get right. Because we can't have the other players, opposing player, going off on us like that. The Wizards are not the Celtics. The Celtics have a plethora of scores. Like, Drew Holiday is coming off the Celtics bench. The Celtics bench. Drew Holiday, an all-star player, coming off their bench. And it's not like he's washed either. He's not washed. He was just a casualty with the Bucks because the Bucks didn't want to lose Giannis, and they had to do something. Because Chris Middleton's not the same player that he used to be. At least he's not showing that after his injury. So they had to do something. So he was a casualty. But he may have found himself on a better team. He may have found himself on a better team. And at some point, I don't want to get too far ahead, but imagine a playoff series, Boston versus Milwaukee, where Drew Holiday has to guard Dame Lillard. Oh, that would be dirty still. That would be dirty. Yo, it's a very high possibility that could happen. Very high. Right? But nevertheless, we are going to Milwaukee on Wednesday. So we got to deal with them again after we beat them up a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. But we got them at home again. We're on a home stand now. Right? So I don't think that the Bucks are going to come out sleepy in that game at all. So the Raptors can't come out sleepy in that game. We got to be on point from tip. Pause. Real talk, B. We need to be. Because against those better teams, you cannot find yourself down 30, 20. You can't. Or else, they're just going to ride on you and you're done. You're cooked. So I would love to split those next 2 games. So we got the Bucks coming up at home on Wednesday. And then we have our first, I was going to say play-in, but our first in-season tournament game against Boston at home on Friday night. The Raptors will be in their OVO City Edition, the gold joints. And the picture of the court's already floating around. I'll try to put a picture up here. So that'll be interesting, those next 2 games, to see how we perform against the upper echelon of the league. We know that we definitely can't have what we had tonight. And we need to get Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes going at the same time. You see how Boston's able to get, like the good teams are able to do this. Boston's able to get Tatum going, Jaylen Brown going at the same time. Porzingis is rolling. So they have like multiple guys that are going at the same time. Multiple guys. Now, the Bucks, they're still a work in progress. I don't believe they've had too many games where both Giannis and Dame are just going off crazy. I believe they've had a couple. But they're still a work in progress right now. So are we, I guess. So are we. However, I think it's time now. We are 10 games into the season. We are 5-5, and I would love to see Darko figure out a way how to get Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam going at the same time. And hopefully OG Anunoby will be back for both of those games because Lord knows we're going to need him. We're going to need our all-world defender against these two teams because these two teams are, they're up there. They got some guys. They got some mans that play ball and they know how to put the ball in the bucket. Right? So let's try to split those, if not go 2-0. Anyways, if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. If you're not subbed up, sub up. Like the video, comment, share with your friends, families, co-workers. Let's make this one of the illest podcasts for the Raptors. You feel me? And I'm going to just keep doing my thing, man. I'm going to just keep dropping content. And I hope that we are able to grow. I appreciate everybody that is currently subscribed because starting something from nothing is not easy. But I'm going to just keep rolling with it. So, yo, you know the flex. It's your boy, and I'm out.